Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Mystery Channel. Tonight, we'll be exploring the strange and fascinating world of out-of-body experiences. For centuries, people have claimed that awareness can separate from the physical body. Some describe traveling beyond their surroundings, while others believe they've entered places that don't exist in normal reality. These experiences often feel more real than dreams. They can happen during sleep, meditation, illness, or even moments of extreme stress. Yet even after years of study, no single explanation has fully settled what is actually going on. Perhaps the mind creates a powerful illusion of separation. Perhaps consciousness can reach farther than we thought. Or perhaps these reports point towards a hidden part of reality that remains just beyond what we currently understand. Tonight, we will examine the patterns behind these experiences while also considering the stranger claims that continue to challenge simple answers. If you enjoy these curious journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is settle in. Let your body relax. Notice your eyes grow heavy. And as the day begins to gently fade away, join me as we explore these mysterious experiences together. Let's begin. Some people say they can see their own bodies from the opposite side of the room. The experience often begins without warning. A person may be resting, recovering from an illness, or drifting near sleep when their viewpoint suddenly seems to move. They look down and recognize the shape below as their own physical fall. The room appears familiar, yet the angle is impossible. Details may seem unusually sharp, including objects placed beyond the normal line of sight. Some people hear nearby conversations while feeling entirely separate from the body that should be listening. The strangest part is often the sense of identity. They do not feel like a copy or an observer inside a dream. They feel completely themselves, only located somewhere else. Critics suggest the brain may be building a convincing model of the room from memory. Experiencers often reject that explanation because the event feels stable and deliberate. If awareness can appear to stand apart from the body, then our ordinary sense of location may be far less fixed than it seems. Some experiencers claim they visited places they had never seen. These reports go beyond floating above a bed or moving through a familiar home. A person may describe a distant building, an unknown street, or a private room that they later encounter for the first time. In the most intriguing cases, the location contains a feature that seems too specific to guess. It might be an unusual doorway, a damaged piece of furniture, or an object hidden from ordinary view. Supporters see this as evidence that awareness can travel without the senses. Skeptics point to coincidence, forgotten memories, and details added after the event. Yet some accounts remain difficult to explain because the traveler recorded the description before visiting the place physically. The mystery becomes even stranger when the location belongs to someone they know but have never visited. Perhaps the mind gathers information through subtle clues. Perhaps memory is less private than we assume. Or perhaps consciousness can reach beyond the body and arrive somewhere the person has never physically been. Hidden targets have reportedly been identified during controlled experiments. Researchers have tried to test out-of-body perception by placing images where a person could only see them from an elevated position. The target might sit on a high shelf or face upward near the ceiling. A participant would then attempt to leave the body and report what appeared. Most trials produced uncertain or disappointing results, which is why the subject remains controversial. Yet a small number of experiments have included descriptions that seemed closer to the hidden target than chance would suggest. Supporters argue that even one accurate identification could have enormous implications. Critics reply that weak controls, lucky guesses, or unconscious cues may explain the successes. The real challenge is consistency. Experiences that feel vivid and repeatable in private often become unreliable under observation. That failure does not settle the question. It may mean the phenomenon is imaginary. It may also mean that expectation, pressure, and measurement interfere with the state itself. Controlled testing has not ended the mystery. It has made the mystery harder to ignore. Out-of-body journeys often begin with powerful vibrations. Many experiencers describe a sudden internal trembling, but feels stronger than any ordinary shiver. The body may seem to hum, pulse, or vibrate from head to foot while remaining completely still. Some compare it to standing near heavy machinery. Others say it feels electrical, though no current is present. The sensation can be frightening because it arrives during the narrow border between waking and sleep. Those who remain calm sometimes report that the vibrations grow until their sense of physical weight disappears. Moments later, they may feel themselves rising, rolling, or slipping free. Sleep researchers connect the effect with changes in muscle control and sensory processing. Astral travelers often treat it as the final stage before separation. What makes the reports compelling is their similarity across people who learned about the phenomenon in different ways. The vibration may be a brain event that creates the illusion of departure. It may also be the felt boundary between physical awareness and something not yet understood. Many people describe entering a world more vivid than waking life. Ordinary dreams can shift without warning and lose detail when examined closely. These experiences are often described in the opposite way. Surfaces appear intensely clear, distances feel stable, and the traveler may believe their thoughts are sharper than usual. Colors can seem stronger without becoming unnatural. Sounds may have depth that is difficult to describe after returning. Some people say the environment feels more solid than everyday reality, even when they know their physical body is elsewhere. This unusual clarity is one reason experiencers resist the idea that they were simply dreaming. Skeptics note that vividness does not prove an event happened outside the mind. A hallucination can feel completely convincing while it lasts. Still, the feeling of heightened reality raises a deeper question. Why would a brain in sleep or crisis produce a world that seems more coherent than normal perception? Perhaps the mind becomes unusually focused when physical senses withdraw. Perhaps it opens onto a level of experience that waking consciousness usually filters out. Blind experiencers have reported seeing clearly outside their bodies. Some of the most challenging accounts come from people who have been blind since birth or lost their sight very early. During an apparent separation, they may describe shapes, movement, light, or the layout of a room in visual terms. For someone without ordinary visual memory, that claim is difficult to fit into a simple dream explanation. Researchers debate whether the reports truly resemble sight, or whether experiencers use visual language to describe another kind of awareness. A blind person may understand spatial relationships through touch, sound, and movement, then translate that knowledge into familiar words. Yet certain accounts include details that were not easily available through the remaining senses. Supporters believe this suggests perception can occur without the eyes. Skeptics remain cautious because memories change and interviews can influence how an experience is described. Even so, these cases raise a remarkable possibility. Vision may not belong entirely to the eyes. What we call seeing could be one expression of a wider capacity within consciousness. Some travelers believe consciousness can operate independently from the brain. This idea sits at the center of the entire mystery. Modern science usually treats awareness as something produced by brain activity. Damage the brain and personality may change. Alter brain chemistry and perception can shift. Out-of-body reports seem to challenge that model. because people often feel mentally clear while located beyond the physical head. Some claim they observed events that were later confirmed. Others return convinced that the brain acts more like a receiver than a generator. Under that view, consciousness exists first, and the body gives it a temporary point of focus. Critics argue that every feature of the experience can still arise from unusual brain states. They note that stimulation, sleep disruption, and trauma can all disturb the sense of bodily location. Supporters reply that creating the sensation of separation does not prove every separation is unreal. A radio can distort a signal without producing the broadcast. The question remains open because the brain and consciousness are linked, yet the nature of that link is still deeply uncertain. Near-death experiences frequently include sudden separation from the body. During a medical crisis, some people report finding themselves above the scene, while others work to save them. The transition may feel instant. One moment they are inside pain or confusion. The next, they are watching from a calm distance. They sometimes remember actions, spoken words, or changes in the room that occurred while they appeared unresponsive. Medical explanations include oxygen loss, altered brain chemistry, and fragmented memory during recovery. Those mechanisms may account for part of the experience, yet they do not fully explain every accurate observation that has been claimed. The emotional tone is also striking. Many people describe clarity rather than panic, even when the body below is in danger. This separation can become the beginning of a much larger journey, though the initial departure often remains the most verifiable part. If the mind can preserve a viewpoint when normal consciousness appears absent, then dying may involve more than a simple fading of awareness. It may reveal how consciousness behaves when the body can no longer anchor it. Two people have claimed to meet during the same projection. Shared out-of-body experiences are rare, but they are among the most provocative reports. Two individuals may agree to attempt a journey at the same time, then later describe encountering one another in a particular setting. The strongest cases involve matching details that were not discussed beforehand. One person may remember a gesture, a phrase, or an unexpected change in appearance that the other also reports. Most attempts fail, and successful stories are difficult to verify without careful records. Critics suggest that close friends often share expectations and may unconsciously shape their memories to fit. Supporters argue that independent written accounts can reduce that possibility. The idea also raises practical questions. If two projected travelers can meet, then the experience may involve a shared environment rather than a private mental world. Perhaps consciousness can enter a common space that ordinary senses cannot detect. Perhaps telepathy creates the feeling of meeting. Either possibility would radically expand what human connection may be capable of becoming. Ancient traditions described spirit travel thousands of years before modern research. Long before laboratories studied altered states, cultures around the world told of a part of the person that could leave the physical form. These journeys appeared in sacred teachings, healing practices, burial beliefs, and accounts of visionary initiation. The details varied, but the central idea remained recognizable. A traveler could move beyond ordinary limits while the body stayed behind. Some traditions treated the journey as dangerous and required guidance. Others saw it as a natural ability but could be trained through discipline. Modern experiences often describe sensations that resemble these older accounts, even when they have little knowledge of them. Skeptics argue that similar stories arise because all humans share the same sleeping brain. Supporters see the repetition as evidence that generations have encountered the same hidden reality. Ancient language cannot prove what happened, yet it shows that the mystery is not a recent invention. Humanity has questioned the location of consciousness for far longer than modern science has tried to measure it. Robert Monroe turned spontaneous journeys into a lifelong investigation. Monroe was a successful American broadcaster when unusual vibrations began disturbing his sleep during the 1950s. He had no strong interest in mysticism and initially feared that something was medically wrong. When the episodes developed into apparent journeys outside his body, he began recording them with the discipline of an investigator. He tested movement, distance, and intention while comparing one experience with another. Over time, he created methods designed to help other people reach similar states. His work eventually led to an institute devoted to the study of consciousness. Supporters value his careful notes and his willingness to question his own conclusions. Critics argue that personal experience cannot establish an external reality, no matter how detailed the record becomes. Monroe's importance lies in the bridge he attempted to build. He moved the subject away from private folklore and toward repeatable exploration. Whether he discovered another realm or mapped an extraordinary mental state, his work changed how modern seekers approach the mystery. The silver cord supposedly keeps travelers connected to their bodies. Accounts of astral travel often include a thin link stretching between the traveler and the physical form. It may appear as a cord, a beam, or a simple awareness of connection. Some people say they never see it but know it is there. In traditional teachings, this link allows consciousness to wander without losing its path home. The cord is usually described as flexible and capable of extending across enormous distances. Stories sometimes claim that death occurs only when the connection breaks, though there is no reliable evidence that ordinary projection can cause this. Skeptics interpret the image as a symbol created by expectation. A mind that fears becoming lost may invent a visible safety line. Supporters point out that similar descriptions appear in accounts from different eras. The cord may represent the continuing relationship between body and awareness. It may also describe a real feature of a non-physical process. Either way, it answers one of the first fears travelers face. Something seems to keep them connected. Some projections begin when the mind awakens before the body. A person may become fully aware while the physical body remains in the deep stillness of sleep. They can think clearly, but cannot move an arm, open their eyes, or call for help. This condition is often frightening because awareness returns before normal muscle control. Yet some experienced projectors see it as an opportunity. Instead of struggling to wake, they focus on movement that is imagined rather than physical. They may picture themselves sitting up, rolling away, or floating toward the ceiling. If the sensation becomes convincing enough, the viewpoint can seem to separate completely. Sleep science explains the paralysis as a normal feature of dreaming that has continued into wakefulness. Astral practitioners agree about the timing but interpret the next stage differently. They believe the sleeping body provides a stable platform for conscious departure. The same event can therefore become either a terrifying interruption or an intentional doorway. The difference may depend on knowledge, expectation, and the ability to remain calm. Sleep paralysis may be the doorway to deliberate separation. For many people, sleep paralysis feels like being trapped inside the body. The chest may seem heavy, and the room can contain vivid sounds or threatening figures. Most sufferers try to escape the state as quickly as possible. Out-of-body practitioners sometimes do the opposite. They allow the paralysis to continue while directing attention away from physical sensation. The frightening presence may fade once they stop resisting it. A feeling of movement can then begin without any muscle actually moving. Some describe sliding from the bed. Others feel themselves rise as if gravity has released them. The overlap between these states is so strong that skeptics consider projection an elaborate form of sleep paralysis. Practitioners see paralysis as evidence that the body can remain asleep while awareness becomes active elsewhere. Both explanations fit part of the experience. What remains uncertain is why a condition known for fear can transform into controlled travel when the person understands what is happening. Knowledge alone seems capable of changing the entire event. Certain experiencers hear an explosive sound before leaving their bodies. The sound may resemble a crash, a gunshot, or a burst of electricity directly beside the head. Nothing in the room has actually happened, yet the noise feels powerful enough to cause immediate alarm. This phenomenon is sometimes connected with exploding head syndrome, a harmless sleep event that occurs during the transition into or out of sleep. For some people, the sound marks the end of the episode. For others, it is followed by vibrations and a sudden sense of separation. The timing has led travelers to believe that the noise signals a shift in consciousness. Medical explanations describe a brief misfiring in the systems that reduce sensory activity as sleep begins. That may explain the sound itself, but not why some people then report a complete journey. Perhaps the brain is rapidly changing states and produces both effects. Perhaps the sound is how the mind interprets crossing an unfamiliar boundary. It arrives like an internal thunderclap, then leaves the person somewhere they did not expect to be. Floating near the ceiling is one of the most common reports. The first destination is often not a distant country or another world. It is the upper part of the same room. People describe hovering above the bed and looking down from a height they could never reach physically. Some notice dust, marks, or forgotten objects on top of furniture. Others become fascinated by the ceiling itself because it appears close enough to touch. The movement usually feels effortless. There is no sensation of weight being supported and no fear of falling unless the person thinks about it. This repeated pattern may reflect how the brain imagines escape from bodily limits. Rising is the simplest way to represent separation. Yet the consistency also interests those who believe a genuine process is occurring. If awareness detaches from the body, perhaps it naturally drifts upward before intention takes control. The ceiling becomes the first boundary. Passing through it can turn a strange bedroom experience into something far larger. Many journeys begin with that simple discovery. The room no longer contains them. Children sometimes describe journeys before learning what projection means. A young child may tell a parent that they floated above the bed, visited another room, or watched the family while everyone slept. They often lack the language to explain the event and may assume it happens to everyone. These stories are intriguing because children have fewer established beliefs about astral travel. Their descriptions can seem spontaneous rather than borrowed from books or online communities. At the same time, childhood imagination is powerful, and the boundary between dreaming and waking is still developing. A vivid dream may be remembered as a real event without any attempt to deceive. What captures attention are the details that appear unexpectedly accurate. A child may mention an activity elsewhere in the house or describe an object they were not thought to have seen. Such cases are difficult to investigate because adults can unintentionally guide the story through questions. Still, they raise an important possibility. Out-of-body experiences may occur naturally in childhood, then disappear as people learn to dismiss them as impossible. Military researchers once explored whether consciousness could travel beyond the body. During the Cold War, intelligence agencies became interested in unusual methods of gathering information. Reports that rival nations were studying psychic abilities created pressure to investigate every possibility. This led to experiments involving remote viewing, which asked participants to describe distant locations without visiting them physically. Remote viewing is not identical to an out-of-body experience, but many participants reported a sense of moving toward the target or observing it from another position. Some sessions produced details that impressed officials. Others were vague, inconsistent, or completely wrong. The programs continued for years because occasional successes seemed too interesting to ignore. Critics later concluded that the results were unreliable for practical intelligence work. Supporters believe the most accurate sessions proved that perception can extend beyond the senses. The military interest gave the subject an unusual form of credibility. Governments did not need to believe every claim. They only needed to wonder whether the ability might be real and whether someone else could learn to use it first. Remote viewing programs raised questions about perception without physical presence. A remote viewer usually remains awake and seated while attempting to describe a hidden target. They may sketch shapes, report textures, or sense movement without knowing what the target is. The information arrives as fragments rather than a complete visual scene. This differs from the fully immersive journeys described by many projectors, yet the underlying claim is similar. Awareness appears to reach a place where the body is not present. Some viewers later reported that stronger sessions felt as if they had briefly entered the location. They could sense scale and direction in ways that ordinary guessing did not explain. Statistical reviews have produced arguments on both sides, with disagreement about methods and interpretation. The most striking results remain surrounded by failures. That inconsistency may point to chance. It may also suggest that non-local perception is fragile and easily disrupted by analysis. Remote viewing turned a mystical idea into a practical question. Can the mind gather real information from somewhere the senses have never reached? Some travelers claim they can pass directly through solid walls. The first attempt can be unsettling because every waking instinct expects a collision. A traveler approaches a wall, presses forward, and feels the surface begin to soften or disappear. Some describe resistance like thick air. Others move through instantly and emerge in another room. The wall may briefly reveal layers, darkness, or a distorted view of the space beyond. This ability is often treated as proof that the projected form does not obey physical rules. Yet experienced travelers say hesitation can make the barrier seem solid again. Expectation appears to shape what happens. Dream researchers see that as evidence that the environment is mentally constructed. Astral practitioners reach a different conclusion. They believe physical matter only blocks physical bodies, while consciousness moves according to attention. The experience can transform how a person thinks about ordinary objects. A wall no longer seems like an absolute boundary. It becomes a rule that may apply only within one level of reality. Passing through it is often the moment disbelief gives way to exploration. Mirrors reportedly behave strangely during out-of-body experiences. A traveler may approach a mirror expecting to see a familiar face, only to find something distorted or completely absent. Some report an older version of themselves. Others see a figure that seems unrelated to their physical appearance. The reflection may change from one glance to the next, which makes the encounter feel less like ordinary vision and more like a test of identity. One explanation is that mirrors depend on the brain's stored image of the body. Without normal sensory input, that image may become unstable. Astral travelers sometimes believe the reflection reveals a deeper self that physical features usually conceal. A few even avoid mirrors because the experience can become unsettling. The mystery is not simply that the image looks wrong. It is that the traveler still feels completely real, while the reflection does not. If the projected body is shaped by thought, then a mirror may reveal how uncertain that shape truly is. Animals have appeared to notice visitors who have no physical form. Some experiencers claim that a sleeping pet suddenly raised its head as they moved through the room outside the body. A dog may stare toward an empty corner or follow an invisible presence with its eyes. A cat may react as though someone has crossed its path, even though the traveler's physical form remains motionless nearby. These reports are difficult to test, yet they are especially intriguing when the animal reacts before any sound or movement occurs. Skeptics suggest that pets respond to subtle noises made by the sleeping body. Supporters believe animals may detect forms of awareness that human senses ignore. Many traditions already credit animals with unusual sensitivity to death, danger, and unseen presences. An out-of-body visitor would fit naturally within that older belief. If an animal can notice projected consciousness, then the experience may leave some effect on the physical world. The pet becomes an unexpected witness, unable to explain what it sensed but reacting all the same. Many experiences return instantly when someone touches their sleeping body. The person may be exploring what seems like a distant place when a hand reaches toward their physical shoulder. The journey ends at once. They feel pulled backward with extraordinary speed and awaken at the exact moment of contact. Even a small disturbance can trigger the return, including a blanket shifting or another person sitting on the bed. This suggests that awareness remains connected to the body's sensory system throughout the experience. The physical form may be quiet, but it is not entirely abandoned. Practitioners sometimes compare this connection to an alarm that overrides every other sensation. Skeptics see it as proof that the event happens inside a sleeping brain that is still monitoring the room. Supporters argue that the body acts as a powerful anchor, calling consciousness home whenever safety requires it. The speed of the return is often more striking than the journey itself. There is no travel time. One moment the person is elsewhere. The next, they are awake inside the body again. Fear can end a projection before the journey properly begins. The first signs of separation can feel so unfamiliar that panic takes control before curiosity has a chance. Vibrations may intensify. The body can seem distant. A person may feel themselves lifting, then suddenly remember frightening stories about becoming trapped or encountering something hostile. That single thought can collapse the entire experience. Practitioners often say fear acts like gravity because it pulls awareness back toward the physical form. This may explain why beginners struggle even when they reach the edge of separation repeatedly. The mind expects danger whenever normal rules disappear. Some people overcome the barrier by reminding themselves that countless previous episodes ended safely. Others focus on a familiar destination to give the experience direction. Sleep researchers would describe the return as a natural reaction to alarm. Astral travelers see fear as a force that shapes movement in non-physical space. Either way, the lesson is the same. The greatest obstacle may not be leaving the body. It may be accepting that the departure is happening. Certain locations seem easier to reach than completely unfamiliar places. Travelers often report that familiar destinations appear almost instantly. A childhood home, a relative's house, or a workplace may come into view as soon as the person thinks about it. Unknown locations are harder. The traveler may become disoriented, arrive somewhere unexpected, or lose the experience entirely. One explanation is that memory provides the structure. The mind can build places it already knows, while unfamiliar settings offer too little material. Another possibility is that emotional connection acts like a form of navigation. A location tied to strong memories may create a clearer target than coordinates on a map. Some practitioners claim they can reach a new place by holding a photograph or focusing on someone who is already there. Success remains inconsistent, but the pattern is revealing. Distance may matter less than familiarity. If thought guides the journey, then emotional recognition could function like an address. The easiest place to reach may be the one that already holds part of the traveler's attention. Some people report seeing their bedroom from impossible angles. A person may describe the room from above a wardrobe, from behind a closed door, or from a point near the ceiling where no physical observer could stand. The unusual angle can reveal details normally hidden from the bed. These might include the top of a shelf or the space behind a piece of furniture. Skeptics argue that the brain already knows more about a familiar room than we consciously realize. It may assemble a convincing view by combining memory with imagination. Yet that explanation becomes less comfortable when the person notices something unexpected and later confirms it. A misplaced object can turn a private sensation into a possible observation. Even then, chance and forgotten knowledge remain difficult to rule out. The deeper puzzle concerns viewpoint itself. In ordinary life, vision seems fixed behind the eyes. During these episodes, the point of awareness appears free to occupy any position. The room stays the same, but the place from which it is seen no longer obeys the body. Time may appear to move differently outside the physical body. A journey that feels long and detailed may occur during only a few minutes of sleep. At other times, the traveler believes they were away briefly, then awakens to discover that hours have passed. The mismatch resembles dreaming, yet experiencers often insist that the sequence felt continuous and fully conscious. Some speculate that non-physical awareness is not bound to the same clock as the body. Events may unfold according to attention rather than seconds. A complicated journey could therefore fit inside a short physical interval. Neuroscience offers another possibility. The brain does not measure time directly. It constructs duration from memory, change, and expectation. An unusual state could stretch or compress that construction dramatically. What makes the mystery compelling is the sense of certainty people bring back. They remember waiting, traveling, and making decisions across what felt like genuine time. If consciousness can experience duration without matching the clock, then time may be less objective within the mind than everyday life suggests. Experienced projectors claim thought alone determines where they travel. Movement does not always require walking, flying, or even turning around. A traveler may simply think of a person or destination and find the surroundings changing immediately. The transition can be smooth, like entering a new room, or so sudden that the previous setting disappears at once. This makes attention more important than direction. A stray thought can send the traveler somewhere unintended. Fear may produce a threatening environment. Curiosity may open a completely different scene. Practitioners learn to hold one intention clearly because uncertainty can create unstable results. Skeptics view this as strong evidence that the experience is internally generated. Dreams also transform when expectation changes. Supporters answer that thought may be the natural method of movement in a realm where physical muscles have no purpose. The possibility is difficult to test because intention and perception are intertwined. Yet the reports suggest a remarkable rule. Outside ordinary awareness, thought may not merely describe the journey. It may become the force that creates its direction. The sensation of falling can suddenly become the feeling of flight. Many experiences begin with a jolt that feels like dropping through the bed. The instinctive reaction is to wake up, but those who remain calm sometimes discover that the downward motion can be redirected. The fall slows, the body feels weightless, and the person begins moving through open space. What first seemed like losing control becomes the entrance to controlled flight. Sleep science connects the initial drop with a hypnic jerk, or a sudden shift in balance signals as the body relaxes. Projectors interpret the change differently. They believe the mind mistakes separation for falling because it has no familiar way to understand movement without physical support. Once fear fades, the same sensation becomes freedom. Direction can then respond to intention rather than gravity. This transformation is one reason experienced travelers advise beginners not to resist the drop. The threatening moment may be a misunderstanding. Falling and flying could be the same sensation. separated only by the expectation of what should happen next. Some turneys seem to begin inside realistic copies of familiar rooms. A traveler may sit up, look around, and believe they have awakened normally. The furniture is in place and the lighting seems correct. Only after closer inspection do small differences appear. A door may be missing. An object may have changed position. The room could contain furniture that belonged there years earlier. These copies are often called replica environments because they resemble the physical setting without matching it perfectly. One theory is that the mind rebuilds the room from memory, then introduces errors where memory is incomplete. Another view suggests that familiar places have non-physical counterparts shaped by the people who live there. The replica may therefore reflect emotional history rather than present arrangement. This can make the beginning of a journey surprisingly confusing. The traveler thinks they are awake until an impossible detail reveals otherwise. The experience raises a difficult question. If consciousness leaves the body, does it enter the physical world directly, or does it first pass through a version created from memory and expectation? False awakenings may conceal an out-of-body experience in progress. A person dreams that they have awakened, risen from bed, and started the day. Everything appears normal until a clock displays impossible numbers or a familiar room changes shape. False awakenings are well known in sleep research, but some projectors believe they can hide the early stages of separation. The individual may already be moving without the physical body and fail to recognize it. Once they test the environment, the experience can become lucid. They might try to float, pass through a door, or look back toward the bed. Sometimes the sleeping form appears there. Sometimes it does not. The overlap makes classification difficult because both states can feel identical at first. A false awakening may be a dream copying reality. It may also be the mind's way of interpreting awareness that has become active outside normal sensation. The key mystery is recognition. An ordinary morning can suddenly reveal itself as something impossible, and the person realizes they never truly woke at all. Lucid dreams and astral projection can feel almost impossible to separate. Both experiences can include clear awareness, deliberate movement, and environments that respond to thought. In a lucid dream, the person knows they are dreaming, and they reshape the scene at will. During a claimed projection, the traveler usually believes they have entered a reality that exists independently. The difference sounds simple until the experience begins. A projected room may change when attention shifts. A lucid dream may remain stable and contain people who behave with surprising independence. Practitioners often use tests. They may attempt to read the same text twice or visit a known physical location. None of these methods works reliably enough to settle the distinction. Some believe the two states are separate but connected, with lucid dreaming serving as a doorway into projection. Others think they are different interpretations of the same brain process. The uncertainty matters because it changes what the experience means. One possibility reveals the creative power of the sleeping mind. The other suggests that awareness can enter a world beyond it. Researchers have triggered body separation illusions using virtual reality. In carefully designed experiments, participants view a digital image of their own body from another position. Touch is then synchronized with what they see happening to that image. After a short time, some begin to feel that their awareness has shifted toward the virtual figure. They may even react as though a threat to the image could harm them. These experiments show that the sense of being located inside the body can be manipulated. Vision and touch do not merely report where the self is. Together, they help construct that location. Skeptics see this as a major clue to spontaneous out-of-body experiences. If technology can move the apparent self, then unusual brain states might do the same without equipment. Yet the laboratory illusion is usually weaker than a full projection. Participants do not normally travel through distant places or observe hidden events. The experiment explains how bodily location can become unstable. It does not prove that every experience ends at the edge of the brain. Electrical brain stimulation can create the sensation of floating outside oneself. During certain medical procedures, doctors apply mild electrical currents to precise areas of the brain while the patient remains awake. In rare cases, stimulation has caused the person to feel as though they are rising above the bed or observing themselves from elsewhere. The effect can begin and end when the current is switched on or off. This provides strong evidence that the brain plays a central role in locating the self. A disrupted signal may separate visual perspective from physical sensation and create an external viewpoint. However, induced episodes are usually brief and incomplete. They often lack the extended journeys, emotional depth, and apparent observations described in spontaneous accounts. Supporters of a non-physical explanation argue that stimulation may trigger a real separation rather than manufacture one. A switch can open a door without creating the room beyond it. The experiments therefore cut both ways. They reveal a biological mechanism, yet they leave open the question of what that mechanism is actually producing. Some scientists believe the brain constructs our sense of bodily location. Most people assume they simply are where their body is. Yet the brain must continually combine vision, balance, touch, and internal sensation to maintain that certainty. When those signals agree, the self feels securely placed behind the eyes. When they conflict, location can become surprisingly flexible. This model explains why illness, sleep disruption, or sensory confusion may produce the feeling of leaving the body. The experience would be real as a perception, even if no consciousness actually traveled. What makes the idea remarkable is that ordinary embodiment becomes a construction rather than a fixed fact. Every waking moment may depend on the brain solving the question of where you are. Out-of-body experiences could occur when that solution breaks down. Some people find this explanation convincing. Others believe it describes only the interface between consciousness and the body. A map can fail without proving that the traveler does not exist. The brain may construct location, but perhaps it does not construct the awareness being located. Others argue brain explanations cannot account for verified distant observations. A neurological model can explain floating, altered perspective, and a changed sense of identity. It becomes less complete when a person reports information they should not have been able to obtain. The strongest claims involve details observed far from the body and confirmed afterward. A traveler may describe an object on another floor or an action taking place in a separate building. Many such stories weaken under investigation because memory, suggestion, and coincidence are difficult to eliminate. A few remain compelling enough to keep the debate alive. Supporters argue that no brain illusion should provide accurate knowledge of a hidden location. Skeptics reply that extraordinary claims require records created before confirmation, not memories collected later. The disagreement often turns on evidence rather than experience. Everyone accepts that the event felt real to the person involved. The question is whether any information came from beyond the senses. If even one distant observation were demonstrated under strong controls, the explanation would need to reach far beyond a mislocated sense of self. The temporoparietal junction may influence where consciousness seems to reside. This region of the brain helps combine information about the body's position, movement, and surrounding space. When its signals become disrupted, a person may feel detached from the physical form or located somewhere nearby. Neurological patients with unusual activity in this area have sometimes reported floating sensations and doubled perspectives. Researchers therefore see it as a key part of the brain's internal body map. The discovery offers a plausible route from biology to the experience of separation. Yet it also raises a philosophical problem. Finding the machinery that places awareness does not reveal what awareness itself is. A compass can determine direction without explaining the traveler who reads it. Some theorists believe the junction creates the feeling of being inside a body. Others think it helps consciousness connect with physical sensation. The distinction is enormous, but current evidence cannot settle it. This small region may generate the illusion of departure. It may also act as the point where awareness becomes anchored to a particular human form. Certain medications have produced sensations remarkably similar to astral travel. Some anesthetics and mind-altering substances can create the impression of floating above the body or moving through an unfamiliar realm. The person may retain a vivid sense of identity while normal physical awareness disappears. These experiences can include tunnels, distant viewpoints, and encounters that seem deeply meaningful. Their chemical origin leads many researchers to view out-of-body travel as a brain event. Change the chemistry and the sense of location changes with it. Yet experiencers sometimes argue that the medication does not invent the journey. It may simply weaken the filters that keep awareness focused on the physical world. The same substance can produce confusion in one person and a structured experience in another, which makes interpretation difficult. Dose, expectation, and setting all matter. The similarity does not prove that every projection is chemical. It shows that the doorway can be influenced through the body. Whether the destination is internal or external remains the unanswered part, and chemistry alone cannot fully decide it. Deep meditation can reportedly trigger separation without sleep or physical crisis. Unlike sudden episodes caused by illness or exhaustion, meditative journeys are often approached deliberately. The practitioner quiets physical movement while keeping attention clear. As awareness becomes less occupied with the senses, the body may seem distant or unusually light. A second viewpoint can then appear. Some meditators describe observing themselves from above. Others feel that their awareness expands beyond the edges of the skin without traveling anywhere. Years of practice may make the transition easier, though spontaneous experiences also occur in beginners. The controlled setting interests researchers because it removes some explanations linked to panic or medical trauma. However, meditation itself can alter perception in powerful ways. A trained mind may construct unusual states with remarkable stability. Spiritual traditions often interpret the event as evidence that consciousness is larger than the physical form. Psychological models see it as a change in self-representation. Both agree that focused attention can transform the basic feeling of embodiment. The mystery is how stillness can make the self seem mobile. Breathing exercises are sometimes used to induce the vibrational stage. Practitioners may use slow patterns of inhaling and exhaling to relax the body while keeping the mind alert. The aim is not simply calmness. It is to reach the edge of sleep without losing awareness. As physical sensation fades, tingling or waves of internal movement may begin. Some people intensify the effect by imagining energy moving upward through the body. Others focus only on the rhythm of breath until the body feels distant. Breathing can change heart rate, carbon dioxide levels, and attention, so unusual sensations are not unexpected. Critics warn that overbreathing can cause dizziness and should not be confused with evidence of projection. Experienced practitioners usually recommend a natural pace rather than force. What interests them is the consistency of the transition. Breath appears to act like a bridge between voluntary control and automatic bodily processes. By guiding one system that belongs to both, the person may bring waking awareness closer to the threshold where separation seems possible. Monks have described conscious travel beyond the body during meditation. In several contemplative traditions, advanced practitioners are said to move awareness beyond ordinary physical limits. The accounts are rarely presented as entertainment. They are treated as side effects of disciplined concentration or as tests of spiritual maturity. A monk may describe visiting a distant teacher, observing another monastery, or entering a realm used for instruction. These claims are usually embedded within religious frameworks, which makes comparison with modern projection difficult. The language of spirit, subtle body, or pure awareness may refer to experiences that do not match Western categories exactly. Skeptics see the reports as visionary states shaped by belief and long practice. Supporters believe the discipline gives monks access to abilities most people never develop. Their accounts are intriguing because they come from environments that value control and careful observation. The traveler is not drifting into the unknown by accident. They are attempting to remain aware through a process refined across generations. Whether the journey is inward or outward, the training appears to make it more stable. Shamans traditionally journeyed to hidden realms while their bodies remained still. In many shamanic traditions, the practitioner enters an altered state to seek knowledge or assistance beyond the ordinary world. Drumming, chanting, or focused ritual may help shift awareness while the body remains seated or lying down. The journey often has a clear purpose. A shaman might search for the cause of an illness or ask guidance from a protective presence. The places visited are described as structured realms rather than random dreams. Each may contain recognizable paths, dangers, and beings with distinct roles. Anthropologists often interpret these journeys through culture and psychology. Practitioners may understand them as genuine travel by a soul or spirit form. The experience differs from modern recreational projection because it serves the community rather than personal curiosity. Information brought back can influence healing, decisions, or ceremonies. The enduring mystery is whether generations of shamans mapped symbolic landscapes within the mind or repeatedly entered a shared reality that exists beyond normal perception. Ancient Egyptians may have believed the soul could travel nightly. Egyptian ideas about the person included several spiritual aspects rather than one simple soul. The BA was often shown as a human-headed bird that could leave the tomb and move freely. It was expected to return, which suggests a continuing connection with the preserved body. Some interpretations link this belief with dreams and journeys made during sleep. The night may have been understood as a time when part of the self traveled beyond ordinary boundaries. Tomb paintings and funerary texts do not provide a modern manual for astral projection, so direct comparisons must remain cautious. Their purpose concerned death, renewal, and the survival of identity. Yet the image of a mobile spirit leaving a resting body is unmistakably familiar. Supporters of ancient wisdom believe the Egyptians preserved knowledge of consciousness that later cultures misunderstood. Historians usually see a religious symbol shaped by burial beliefs. Either way, the concept places out-of-body travel among humanity's oldest attempts to explain what happens when awareness seems to wander. Greek philosophers debated whether consciousness could temporarily leave the body. Ancient Greek thought included stories of souls traveling while the body appeared lifeless or deeply entranced. Philosophers disagreed about whether the soul was separate from matter, but the possibility was taken seriously enough to inspire argument. Plato presented the soul as capable of existing beyond the physical form. Other thinkers treated mental life as inseparable from the body's functions. This disagreement resembles the modern debate more closely than it first appears. One side sees consciousness as fundamental and temporarily embodied. The other sees it as dependent on physical processes. Reports of visionary journeys gave both camps material to interpret. A strange experience could be evidence of spiritual freedom or a disturbance within the organism. The language has changed, but the basic question remains almost untouched. Does the body produce the mind, or does it contain it for a time? Greek philosophy did not settle the matter. It established a framework that still shapes how people understand every claimed journey beyond the body. Tibetan teachings describe dream practices that resemble deliberate projection. Tibetan dream yoga trains practitioners to remain aware while dreaming. The goal is not simply to control the dream for pleasure. It is to recognize that ordinary experience can also be unstable and shaped by the mind. A practitioner may learn to change form, travel instantly, or move through solid objects while maintaining clear awareness. These abilities closely resemble modern accounts of astral projection. Some teachings also describe subtler states in which consciousness separates from normal bodily sensation. The distinction between dream and external journey is not always the central concern. What matters is learning that awareness can remain present while the world around it changes. Western readers sometimes interpret these practices as instructions for leaving the body, though that translation may oversimplify the tradition. Still, the overlap is striking. Long before contemporary manuals appeared, Tibetan practitioners were training for conscious mobility during sleep. They treated the experience as a disciplined exploration of mind, not merely an accidental nighttime event. Indigenous traditions often include journeys made without physical movement. Across many communities, stories describe healers or chosen individuals traveling while their bodies remain behind. The traveler may seek information, contact ancestors, or enter a place connected with the origins of the group. These accounts should not be forced into one universal system because each tradition has its own meaning. Some journeys occur during dreams. Others are linked to ceremony or periods of isolation. What they share is the idea that knowledge can be gained without ordinary travel. The body stays in one location while another aspect of the person moves elsewhere. Modern readers often call this astral projection, though the original cultures may understand it very differently. For them, the journey can involve responsibility rather than personal adventure. It may confirm a role within the community or provide guidance during hardship. The repeated appearance of non-physical travel raises an important question. Did distant cultures independently create similar explanations for altered states, or were they describing a human ability that appears wherever people learn how to recognize it? Some medieval accounts describe witnesses seeing a second version of someone. A person might be known to remain in one place while another witness claimed to see them somewhere else. The second figure could appear solid, speak briefly, or vanish before anyone approached. Medieval writers often interpreted such events through religion, magic, or warnings of death. Modern readers may see sleep-related visions or mistakes of identity. Yet the stories resemble later reports of projected doubles with surprising closeness. In some cases, the person who was seen elsewhere claimed to have been thinking intensely about that location. This led to the belief that a strong intention could produce an image visible to others. The account becomes more than a private journey, because an external witness appears to confirm the presence. Historical records are difficult to verify, and legends often grew through retelling. Even so, they preserve a disturbing possibility. Consciousness may not only travel beyond the body. Under rare conditions, it might create a form that someone else can actually perceive. Doppelganger stories may preserve older beliefs about traveling consciousness. A doppelganger is usually understood as a mysterious double of a living person. Encounters with one are often treated as warnings or signs of misfortune, but the older idea may connect with out-of-body travel. The double could represent a part of the self appearing elsewhere, while the physical person remains unaware. Some reports describe the figure performing ordinary actions before fading or disappearing. Others involve people seeing their own likeness at a distance. Psychological explanations include mistaken identity, memory errors, and hallucinations. Folklore gives the double a more independent role. It may act as a messenger or reveal that the self is not confined to one form. The connection with projection becomes stronger when the original person is sleeping or deeply absorbed at the time of the sighting. Perhaps the witness sees a mental image shaped by expectation. Perhaps consciousness briefly takes on a visible outline. Doppelganger stories turn the private mystery of separation into a public encounter with someone who should not be there. Bilocation legends describe people appearing in two places simultaneously. Unlike a private out-of-body journey, bilocation involves witnesses who believe they saw the same person in separate locations at the same time. The distant figure may speak, teach, or perform a helpful action, while the physical individual remains elsewhere. Religious traditions often present bilocation as a rare spiritual gift. Occult traditions may describe it as the visible result of a projected double. Skeptics point to mistaken identity, exaggerated storytelling, and unreliable timekeeping in older accounts. Yet some cases include several witnesses who were convinced they interacted with the person directly. The mystery becomes even more difficult when the individual later remembers the distant event as a dream or vision. This suggests that the second appearance may not be an independent copy. It could be consciousness operating through another form. Bilocation challenges the assumption that identity must occupy one place at one moment. If even one case were genuine, the human self would be capable of something physical reality appears to forbid. Saints were sometimes credited with visiting distant places without traveling. Stories of Christian saints include appearances far from the monasteries or rooms where their bodies remained. Witnesses claimed that these figures offered guidance, comfort, or warnings during urgent moments. The saint might later describe knowing what happened despite never making the physical journey. Such accounts were understood as miracles rather than astral projection, but the structure is remarkably similar. A conscious presence seems to reach another location while the body stays behind. Devotional stories can grow over time, and historical evidence is often limited. Believers may also interpret coincidence through faith. Yet the repeated pattern suggests that unusual experiences were being reported within a religious language suited to the period. The traveler did not describe techniques or personal adventure. The event was framed as service made possible through divine permission. Modern projectors might call it intentional consciousness travel. Church writers called it grace. The labels differ, but the central mystery remains. Someone appeared where they could not physically have been, and witnesses believed the encounter was real. Some soldiers have reported viewing battlefields from above during extreme danger. In moments of overwhelming threat, a soldier may suddenly feel detached from the body and watch events from a point high above the ground. The scene can appear strangely ordered. Movements that felt chaotic moments earlier may become clear from the new perspective. Some remember seeing where others were positioned or noticing routes that were hidden at ground level. Psychologists often connect these episodes with dissociation, which can protect the mind when fear becomes unbearable. Yet certain veterans describe the experience as more than emotional distance. They insist their awareness occupied a real location and gathered information from there. The event may last only seconds before the person snaps back into the body. What remains is often a vivid memory that never fades. If extreme danger can loosen the normal bond between awareness and physical location, then survival itself may trigger an ability that ordinary life keeps hidden. Accident survivors occasionally recall details visible only from elevated positions. After a serious accident, a person may remember looking down on the scene, while others gathered below. They might describe the placement of vehicles, the movement of emergency workers, or an object that was hidden from their physical viewpoint. These accounts become especially intriguing when the survivor was unconscious or unable to move. Skeptics suggest that sounds and brief glimpses were later assembled into a convincing overhead memory. The brain is skilled at creating a complete scene from incomplete information. Supporters argue that some details seem too precise to come from reconstruction alone. A particular item on a roof or the exact position of someone behind an obstruction can become the focus of investigation. Verification is rarely perfect because accidents are confusing and memories are collected afterward. Even so, the recurring elevated perspective raises the same unsettling question. Why does consciousness so often seem to move upward when the body is suddenly injured or threatened? Surgical patients have described events that occurred while they were unconscious. Some people awaken from surgery with memories of the operating room that seem to belong to a period when they should have had no awareness. They may recall a conversation, an unexpected problem, or the movement of equipment during the procedure. Occasionally, the viewpoint seems to come from near the ceiling rather than the operating table. Anesthesia awareness can explain certain cases, though patients who experience it usually report sounds, pressure, or fear from within the body. Out-of-body accounts often feel different. The person describes calm observation from somewhere above the scene. Medical staff may later confirm parts of the story, which makes the memory harder to dismiss. Critics note that information can be absorbed before full unconsciousness or during recovery. Still, the timing sometimes appears difficult to place. If awareness can remain active while the brain is deeply suppressed, surgery may reveal a hidden layer of consciousness that ordinary waking life never exposes. Certain hospital cases include observations later confirmed by medical staff. The most discussed cases do not rely only on how real the experience felt. They include details that nurses or doctors later recognized. A patient may describe an unusual instrument, a comment made during treatment, or the order in which people entered the room. These reports attract attention because they appear to connect a private experience with an external event. Yet verification is rarely simple. Staff may hear the story after the patient has spoken with family or learned something about the procedure. Records may be incomplete. Memory can also change during repeated retelling. Supporters therefore look for accounts documented immediately after recovery. When the timing is clear and the detail is specific, the case becomes much harder to explain through guesswork. No single hospital report has settled the debate, but a small number continue to resist easy dismissal. They suggest that awareness may sometimes observe medical events from a position the physical senses could not occupy. Hidden picture experiments have produced intriguing but disputed results. Hospitals and laboratories have sometimes placed images on high surfaces where they could only be seen from above. The idea is simple. A person who truly leaves the body should be able to report the hidden target. Most participants never see the image, even when they describe floating near the ceiling. This poor success rate supports the view that the experience is internal. Yet occasional partial matches have kept interest alive. A person may identify the general shape or theme without naming the exact picture. Critics call these coincidences and argue that loose scoring makes weak results seem impressive. Supporters reply that the unusual state may not allow precise control. A traveler who is shocked by leaving the body may not think to inspect a shelf. The experiments reveal a difficult problem. The phenomenon is most powerful when spontaneous, but science requires planned observation. The moment researchers create a test, the experience may refuse to follow the script. Some experiencers remember conversations held far beyond normal hearing range. A person may report words spoken in a corridor, another room, or a distant part of a building, while their physical body remained elsewhere. The conversation is often ordinary, which can make it more convincing than a dramatic prediction. A nurse might mention a misplaced item. A relative could discuss a private concern. Later, confirmation turns the memory into a possible example of perception without ears. Sound can travel unexpectedly through ventilation systems or open doors, so ordinary explanations must be considered. The unconscious brain can also register speech that the waking mind never noticed. Yet some reports involve distance or barriers that appear to rule out normal hearing. Supporters believe consciousness may move toward voices or people who hold emotional importance. Skeptics suspect that forgotten knowledge was reshaped after the fact. The mystery becomes strongest when the words are unusual, recorded quickly, and confirmed by witnesses who had no contact with the experiencer during recovery. People have reported meeting deceased relatives during journeys outside the body. These encounters often feel immediate and personal rather than symbolic. A traveler may recognize a relative who died years earlier and experience the meeting as a genuine reunion. The person appears healthy, aware, and able to communicate without ordinary speech. Sometimes the message is simple reassurance. In other cases, the relative warns that the traveler must return because their life is not finished. Psychology offers a compassionate explanation. The mind may create a familiar figure during stress to reduce fear and restore emotional stability. Yet some reports include relatives the experiencer did not know had died. Such cases are rare and difficult to verify, but they are especially powerful for those involved. Spiritual interpretations suggest that leaving the body allows contact with people who no longer possess physical forms. Whether the meeting comes from memory or another realm, it can permanently change the traveler's view of death. Many return convinced that personal identity continues beyond the body. Unknown beings sometimes appear to guide travelers through unfamiliar environments. A journey may begin in confusion until a figure arrives and seems to understand exactly what is happening. The guide can appear human, luminous, or only partly visible. Communication often occurs through direct understanding rather than spoken language. The being may lead the traveler away from a frightening area or show them how to move. Some guides provide information that feels important but becomes difficult to remember after returning. Skeptics interpret these figures as mental helpers created by the unconscious mind. Dreams often produce characters who seem independent and knowledgeable. Travelers sometimes disagree because the guide behaves in ways they did not expect and refuses requests they strongly make. Spiritual traditions describe such beings as guardians, teachers, or companions linked to the individual before birth. The mystery lies in their apparent purpose. They rarely seem surprised by the traveler's arrival. Instead, they act as though the meeting was expected and the route was already known. Protective figures are described across cultures that never contacted one another. Accounts from distant traditions often include a presence that appears when a traveler becomes afraid or lost. The figure may not share the experiencer's religion, language, or expected appearance. Even so, its role is recognizable. It offers safety and restores direction. Some people see an ancestor. Others encounter a calm stranger who radiates authority without speaking. The repeated pattern may reflect a universal feature of the human mind. Under stress, consciousness could generate an ideal protector from deep psychological needs. Yet believers suggest something more unusual. The same class of beings may interact with humanity through symbols that each culture can understand. That would explain why the appearance changes while the function remains stable. These encounters rarely provide proof because the figure leaves no physical trace. Their importance lies in consistency. Across different places and beliefs, travelers repeatedly describe help arriving at the exact moment they believe they cannot continue alone. Hostile presences have also been reported during attempted projection. Not every encounter feels protective. Some people sense a threatening intelligence nearby as separation begins. The presence may remain unseen while creating intense fear. Others report a dark figure that blocks movement or seems determined to force them back. Sleep paralysis offers a strong explanation because the brain can combine immobility with a vivid sense of danger. Cultural expectations may then shape the form of the threat. Yet experienced projectors sometimes claim these encounters occur after they have already left the body and gained full movement. They interpret the presence as an independent being or as a force attracted to fear. Another possibility is that the figure represents hidden anxiety given a temporary form. Practitioners often advise remaining calm and refusing to engage. The presence usually disappears when fear weakens. That pattern can support either explanation. Perhaps confidence dissolves a mental creation. Perhaps it also protects the traveler from something that has no power unless attention feeds it. Some travelers believe emotional control determines what kind of realm appears. During these experiences, mood may seem to alter the surroundings with remarkable speed. Curiosity can lead to open and inviting places. Fear may darken the scene or draw attention toward threatening forms. Anger can make movement difficult. A calm state often produces greater clarity and control. Dream researchers would expect emotion to shape an internally generated world because dreams respond strongly to feeling. Astral practitioners agree that emotion matters, but they see it as a form of navigation. Under their model, different states of mind attract different levels of reality. The traveler does not create every place. They become aligned with the type of place that matches their inner condition. This belief gives emotional discipline a practical purpose. Staying calm is not only comforting, it may determine where consciousness goes. The idea also explains why two people can describe completely different destinations after using the same method. They may have entered the experience carrying different emotional frequencies. Lower realms are often described as heavy places shaped by fear. Some accounts describe environments where movement feels difficult and the atmosphere seems oppressive. The surroundings may resemble ordinary buildings, yet everything appears neglected or unstable. Travelers sometimes encounter confused figures who do not realize they are being observed. These places are not always presented as permanent locations of punishment. They may be temporary zones shaped by distress, obsession, or unresolved emotion. Psychological explanations view them as nightmares entered with unusual awareness. Spiritual models suggest they are real levels of existence, occupied by consciousness trapped in destructive patterns. The idea appears in many esoteric systems, though the details differ greatly. Practitioners warn that fear can draw attention toward such environments, while calm intention can allow an immediate departure. The most unsettling possibility is that these realms may be created collectively. If many minds carry similar fears, perhaps they form shared landscapes beyond the physical world. The traveler may then be entering something larger than a private dream. Higher realms supposedly feel brighter and more intelligent than physical reality. At the opposite end of these reports are places that seem unusually clear and ordered. Travelers describe an atmosphere of understanding that requires no explanation. Communication may occur instantly, and the environment appears responsive without becoming unstable. Some say they feel more awake there than they have ever felt in ordinary life. The experience can produce a powerful reluctance to return. Skeptics interpret this as a state of intense brain activity combined with emotional release. Feelings of unity and insight can seem profound, even when they do not provide testable information. Spiritual travelers believe these realms exist beyond the limits of matter and are inhabited by advanced forms of consciousness. They may view Earth as one level within a much larger system. What makes the accounts compelling is not only beauty, it is the reported intelligence of the place itself. The environment seems to understand the visitor and respond before questions are fully formed. Entire cities have been reported in places no map records. Some projectors describe arriving above vast settlements filled with buildings, roads, and moving inhabitants. The cities may resemble Earth while containing forms of architecture that seem impossible to construct physically. A traveler might return to the same place during later journeys and find familiar districts still present. This apparent continuity makes the experience feel different from a random dream. Skeptics argue that the mind can build complex settings from fragments of memory and imagination. A dream city may feel consistent because the brain recreates its central features each time. Supporters believe these settlements belong to other levels of reality and may contain communities of non-physical beings. Some reports suggest that newly deceased people gather there while adjusting to a different form of existence. Others describe places devoted to learning or recovery. No physical map can confirm them. Yet the detail and scale of the accounts raise a remarkable possibility. Civilization may not be limited to locations that physical bodies can reach. Some projectors claim libraries exist beyond the physical world. These libraries are not always described as rooms filled with ordinary books. Information may appear as images, living scenes, or direct knowledge transferred into the mind. A traveler can approach a record and seem to experience its contents rather than read them. Some accounts describe endless halls managed by intelligent guardians. Others portray quiet study areas where visitors examine personal histories or unanswered questions. Skeptics see the library as a powerful symbol created by the mind to organize memory. Human beings naturally imagine knowledge as something stored and searchable. Spiritual interpretations take the setting more literally. They suggest that information exists independently from individual brains and can be accessed when awareness leaves the body. The main difficulty is bringing the knowledge back. Travelers often remember the certainty of understanding but lose the details upon waking. The library may therefore contain everything while remaining almost impossible to use. Its greatest mystery is not what is stored there, but why access seems so carefully limited. The Akashic records are said to contain every event and possibility. According to esoteric traditions, an invisible field preserves the history of every thought, action, and experience. Some versions extend even further and include future possibilities that have not yet occurred. Projectors who claim to enter this archive describe information as immediate and complete. They may witness scenes from another era or understand the hidden cause of a personal event. The concept resembles a cosmic memory that exists beyond any single mind. Critics view it as an imaginative framework for intuition and subconscious recall. A person may combine forgotten details into a convincing vision, then interpret the result as universal knowledge. Believers argue that striking historical insights and unexpected personal revelations point toward genuine access. The records are said to respond to intention, though not every question receives an answer. Perhaps certain information would interfere with choice. Perhaps the traveler can only understand what their mind is prepared to hold. The idea transforms consciousness from a private observer into a possible reader of reality's complete archive. Travelers have described classrooms where non-physical teachers explain consciousness. Some journeys lead to organized spaces where groups appear to receive instruction. The setting may resemble a lecture hall or a quiet meeting room. The subject is often the nature of life, memory, or the purpose of physical existence. Teachers communicate with unusual clarity, though the exact lessons can become difficult to recall afterward. A traveler may return with only one central idea and the feeling that far more was explained. Skeptics see these classrooms as dreams shaped by a desire for guidance. The mind creates an authority figure, then uses that figure to present its own insights. Supporters believe the places are genuine training environments used between physical lives or during sleep. Under that interpretation, many people may attend without remembering. The classroom is compelling because it suggests that out-of-body travel is not only exploration, it may be education. Earthly life could be one part of a larger process in which consciousness continues learning beyond the limits of the waking body. Certain journeys seem to reveal memories from lives never consciously remembered. A traveler may enter a scene that feels deeply familiar despite belonging to another time or identity. They might recognize a home they have never visited or experience emotions connected to people they do not know. The event often arrives with the certainty of memory rather than the distance of imagination. Some interpret this as access to a previous life. Others believe the mind is combining historical knowledge with personal concerns. Details can occasionally be checked, though matches are difficult to evaluate because general features are easy to find. The strongest cases involve names, locations, or customs the person was not known to have studied. Yet hidden exposure can never be ruled out completely. Another theory suggests that the memory belongs to someone else and was accessed through a shared field of consciousness. The traveler may not be remembering their own past at all. They may be entering an experience stored beyond the boundaries of individual identity. Past life visions sometimes emerge during deliberate separation from the body. Unlike spontaneous memories, these visions may occur after the traveler intentionally asks to see an earlier existence. The surroundings change, and the person finds themselves observing or inhabiting another body. They may experience a brief event or follow an entire life across several scenes. The emotional force can be stronger than the historical detail. A fear or relationship in the present may suddenly seem connected to what appears. Therapists who work with regression often interpret such scenes as symbolic narratives created by the subconscious. Spiritual practitioners believe separation from the current body loosens the barrier around older identities. The method raises obvious concerns because expectation can shape what appears. A person who anticipates a royal life may create one. Yet many accounts are surprisingly ordinary and involve work, family, or hardship rather than fame. That lack of glamour makes them feel more believable to experiencers. The vision may be fantasy, memory, or something between both. Its power comes from how personally true it feels. Some people believe projections can enter moments from the distant past. A traveler may focus on a historical period and find the environment changing around them. Buildings appear different, modern sounds vanish, and unfamiliar people move through the scene without noticing the observer. These experiences are often called time travel, though they may function more like viewing a recording than physically entering the past. The traveler rarely changes events or gains clear proof. Skeptics interpret the scene as a reconstruction built from books, films, and imagination. Supporters suggest that every moment leaves an imprint within consciousness. Projection may allow someone to tune into that imprint and observe what once occurred. This would make the past accessible without reversing physical time. The challenge is accuracy. Clothing and architecture may look convincing while containing subtle errors. Unless the traveler discovers a detail later verified by history, there is no way to separate vision from invention. Even so, the idea is extraordinary. The past may not be gone. It may remain present as information waiting to be entered. Others claim future events have appeared during journeys outside ordinary time. Some experiences return with a memory of something that has not happened yet. The event may be small, such as an unexpected meeting, or dramatic enough to remain vivid for years. When a similar scene later occurs, the person feels they have already witnessed it. Critics point to selective memory. People imagine many possibilities and remember the few that resemble later events. Details may also shift after the prediction comes true. Supporters try to reduce this problem by writing accounts down before anything happens. A small number of recorded predictions appear unusually close, though none has produced universal agreement. Out-of-body travelers often describe time as a landscape rather than a straight line. The future may exist as a range of developing patterns that consciousness can briefly observe. If so, a vision would not guarantee what must occur. It might reveal only the path most likely at that moment. The future could be visible without being fixed. Precognitive projections remain difficult to test and even harder to dismiss. A useful prediction must be specific enough to verify, but not so likely that chance can explain it. This makes controlled research extremely difficult. A traveler might report seeing a storm, an accident, or a public announcement. If the event occurs somewhere later, the match may seem impressive while still being statistically weak. The strongest tests use hidden targets chosen after the projection begins. The traveler attempts to perceive an image that does not yet exist at the time of viewing. Some experiments have produced results that supporters consider better than chance. Critics question the methods and note that replications are inconsistent. The phenomenon appears strongest in personal experiences, where emotional events may attract attention before they happen. That makes laboratory testing less natural, but personal confirmation less reliable. Precognition survives because neither side can close the case. Failures are common, yet certain accurate reports seem too detailed for easy comfort. The future remains silent, but perhaps not completely invisible. Some experiences report seeing possible futures rather than one fixed outcome. Instead of witnessing a single event, a traveler may encounter several versions of what could happen. One path changes when the decision is made. Another fades as circumstances shift. These visions feel less like prophecy and more like standing before a map of probabilities. The idea explains why some predictions fail without making every vision meaningless. The traveler may have seen a genuine possibility that never became physical. Skeptics argue that the mind naturally simulates alternative futures during dreams and deep thought. This ability helps people plan and avoid danger. Projection may simply make the simulation feel external. Spiritual models suggest consciousness can rise above ordinary time and view branching outcomes directly. Choice remains important because no single branch is guaranteed. This view turns the future into something alive and responsive rather than completed in advance. It also creates a strange responsibility. Seeing a danger may help prevent it, which would make the failed prediction evidence that the warning succeeded. Astral travelers sometimes claim they can visit distant planets. Once a person believes thought can overcome distance, Earth no longer marks the limit of exploration. Some projectors focus on the planet and feel themselves moving through darkness before arriving near an unfamiliar world. They describe colored skies, enormous landscapes, or structures that do not resemble human construction. Skeptics note that photographs and science fiction provide abundant material for the imagination. A dreamer can create a convincing planet without leaving the bedroom. Travelers reply that certain environments contain details they did not expect and could not control. The experience may also feel less personal than a dream, as though the world continues beyond the observer's attention. Verification remains almost impossible because many locations are physically unreachable or poorly mapped. Even accurate descriptions can be dismissed as lucky guesses after images become public. Yet the idea changes the scale of the mystery. If consciousness is not limited by the body, then the distance between worlds may matter far less than anyone assumes. The moon appears surprisingly often in reports of non-physical travel. It is close enough to feel reachable, yet distant enough to represent the first true departure from Earth. Projectors often describe moving toward it almost instantly once they form the intention. Some arrive above the visible surface. Others claim to enter regions hidden from ordinary observation. The moon's familiar appearance gives travelers a reference point, which may explain its popularity. Every person has seen it, so the mind can construct a setting from memory. Alternative thinkers suggest another reason. The moon may hold unusual importance within a larger system of consciousness. Certain accounts portray it as a station, an observation point, or a boundary between levels of reality. There is no reliable evidence for these claims, but their repetition keeps them alive. The moon has always attracted myths about death, dreams, and hidden influence. Out-of-body reports add a modern layer to that old fascination. It becomes not only something seen from Earth, but somewhere awareness may attempt to visit. Some projectors describe artificial structures hidden on the lunar surface. These reports often involve shapes that seem too regular to be natural. Travelers claim to see towers, domes, entrances, or vast installations in regions rarely photographed clearly. Some believe the structures are abandoned. Others describe signs of continued activity. The stories overlap with conspiracy theories about altered space images and secret lunar discoveries. Mainstream astronomy finds no credible evidence of artificial construction on the moon. Projectors answer that non-physical observation may reveal structures outside ordinary matter or hidden through technology. That explanation makes the claim nearly impossible to disprove, but also impossible to confirm. The most interesting accounts include similar features described by people who say they never compared notes. Critics suspect shared cultural influence because lunar-based stories have circulated for decades. Supporters see convergence. The moon becomes a testing ground for the limits of remote consciousness. If travelers are inventing these installations, the pattern reveals a powerful modern myth. If they are not, then the nearest world may conceal far more than expected. Mars has inspired accounts of ruined cities seen through traveling consciousness. Some experiences describe crossing the distance to Mars and finding remains of enormous structures beneath dust and rock. They report broken walls, empty chambers, and landscapes that feel marked by an ancient disaster. These visions resemble long-standing theories that Mars once supported an advanced civilization. Scientific missions have found strong evidence of ancient water, but no confirmed ruins or intelligent life. Supporters of astral travel suggest physical exploration may overlook what consciousness can detect. The ruins might be buried or exist as impressions from the past. Skeptics see a mixture of space imagery and popular speculation. The human mind expects Mars to hold lost secrets, so it creates exactly that kind of scene. Yet the reports remain compelling because they often present the planet as a dead world with a history, rather than a fantasy filled with active aliens. Whether imagined or observed, the vision speaks to a powerful possibility. Mars may not be empty. It may be a place where something important already ended. Certain experiencers claim they reached worlds inhabited by intelligent beings. The inhabitants are not always described as human or even physical. Some appear as luminous forms. Others possess bodies adapted to environments unlike Earth. Communication may occur through images or immediate understanding, which removes the barrier of language. Travelers sometimes believe the beings are surprised to see them. In other accounts, the meeting appears expected. Skeptics view these encounters as dreams shaped by stories about extraterrestrial life. The mind can create intelligent characters that feel independent and answer questions unpredictably. Supporters argue that consciousness may be the easiest way for civilizations to meet across enormous distances. Physical spacecraft would require time and energy, while non-physical awareness might cross space instantly. The encounter would then resemble contact rather than fantasy. no traveler has returned with proof accepted by science. Yet these reports raise a bold possibility. Life elsewhere may not be waiting for humanity to build faster machines. It may already be reachable through a faculty we have barely begun to understand. Alien encounters sometimes begin with the sensation of leaving the body. A person may awaken unable to move and feel themselves rising from the bed. The room changes, a bright environment appears, and unfamiliar beings seem to wait nearby. Some interpret the event as physical abduction. Others believe consciousness has been removed while the body remains behind. This distinction could explain why witnesses rarely observe anyone physically leaving the house. The experience may happen entirely within sleep paralysis, where vivid figures and movement sensations are well documented. Yet experiencers often insist the encounter contains a clarity and structure, unlike dreaming. Some report returning with missing time or powerful memories that emerge later. Alternative theories suggest non-human intelligence may communicate through altered states because direct physical contact is unnecessary. The beings could enter consciousness rather than the room. This would make out-of-body states a possible meeting point between species. It could also mean that many alien encounters are misunderstood inner events. Either possibility is strange enough to keep the mystery alive. Abduction memories may overlap with sleep paralysis and astral projection. The three experiences share several features. A person becomes aware in bed, cannot move, senses a presence, and feels lifted or pulled away. What happens next depends heavily on expectation and interpretation. Someone familiar with sleep disorders may see the event as paralysis. A believer in astral travel may attempt to separate deliberately. A person concerned about alien contact may remember an abduction. This overlap does not prove that every account has the same cause. It shows that one unusual state can produce very different narratives. Cultural images may shape the figures that appear, while the underlying sensations remain consistent. Some researchers believe abduction memories develop when a frightening sleep event is later reconstructed through hypnosis or repeated reflection. Experiencers often reject that explanation because the memories feel coherent and emotionally powerful. The deeper mystery is whether sleep paralysis merely creates convincing encounters or opens awareness to something genuinely external. The body is immobilized, but the experience feels anything but inactive. Some contactees believe non-human beings communicate through projected consciousness. According to these accounts, alien contact may not require a spacecraft landing or a figure entering the room. Instead, communication begins when awareness seems to separate from ordinary physical perception. The person may feel drawn toward a distant presence and receive images that arrive with complete meaning. No spoken language is needed. Some contactees describe being shown unfamiliar worlds or warnings about humanity's future. Others believe the encounter was arranged before they consciously attempted projection. Skeptics argue that expectation can create convincing beings within an altered state. Supporters see a practical method for communication across enormous distances. A civilization far beyond Earth might consider physical travel slow and unnecessary. Consciousness itself could become the meeting place. This possibility would explain why many encounters leave no physical evidence while still feeling more real than dreams. Perhaps the visitors never cross space in machines. Perhaps they reach directly into the level of awareness that can travel without the body. UFO sightings have occasionally followed intense out-of-body experiences. A person may return from a powerful journey and notice an unexplained light moving outside. In other reports, a strange object appears during the days that follow. The timing leads experiencers to wonder whether the projection attracted attention or created a form of contact. Some believe unusual states of consciousness produce a signal that advanced beings can detect. Others think the traveler may have entered a location connected with the object before seeing it physically. Skeptics offer a simpler explanation. Someone focused on extraordinary experiences may watch the sky more closely and interpret ordinary lights differently. Yet a few cases include additional witnesses who saw the object without knowing about the projection. That does not prove a connection, but it makes coincidence feel less satisfying. The sequence raises a remarkable possibility. Out-of-body travel may not only allow awareness to explore, it could also make the traveler visible to something that is already observing Earth from beyond normal human perception. The vibrational stage sometimes includes voices speaking from unseen sources. As the body becomes still, a voice may suddenly speak with surprising clarity. It can sound close to the ear even though no one is present. Some voices offer instructions. Others call the person's name or say something confusing enough to break concentration. The experience can feel more direct than ordinary inner speech because the words seem to come from an independent source. Sleep researchers connect this with auditory hallucinations that occur near sleep. The brain can generate realistic speech while awareness remains partly awake. Projectors sometimes believe the voice belongs to a guide or another consciousness waiting beyond the physical senses. The content may influence what happens next. A calming message can help the traveler continue, while a threatening one may end the attempt immediately. The unseen speaker rarely explains who it is. That uncertainty gives the moment its power. The person stands at the edge of separation and hears something that appears to know they are listening. Music and mechanical humming are frequently heard before separation. The sound may begin as a low vibration and develop into a complex tone that seems to fill the entire head. Some describe machinery operating behind the walls. Others hear music with no recognizable source or melody, unlike anything they remember. The noise often grows louder as physical sensation fades, then stops the moment separation occurs. Medical explanations connect these effects with changes in auditory processing during sleep. The brain may create sound as outside input becomes reduced. Astral practitioners often interpret the humming as a shift in frequency. They believe awareness is moving away from the physical level and briefly registers the transition as sound. This idea resembles tuning a radio between stations, though no instrument is involved. The experience can be overwhelming because the volume feels enormous without disturbing anyone nearby. Whatever causes it, the sound appears to mark a threshold. When the humming reaches its strongest point, the body may feel distant and movement can suddenly begin elsewhere. Some people feel pulled from their bodies by an invisible force. Instead of floating by choice, the person may feel a sudden grip around the chest, back, or legs. The force can lift them rapidly or drag them toward a wall. No physical hand is visible, yet the movement feels directed and deliberate. Some experiencers remain calm because they sense that the pull is helping them separate. Others become frightened and resist until they awaken. Interpretations vary widely. The sensation may come from the brain misreading changes in balance and muscle control. It could also represent the mind turning an unfamiliar shift into the feeling of being physically moved. More speculative accounts suggest that a guide is assisting the departure or that another intelligence is attempting contact. The direction of the pull sometimes seems meaningful. A person may be drawn toward a doorway or directly into a new environment. They do not choose the route. Something else appears to take control, leaving them to wonder who initiated the journey. Others describe rolling sideways without moving a single muscle. The method feels physical even though the body remains completely still. A person imagines turning over and suddenly senses another version of themselves, rotating out of the sleeping form. The movement may continue until they seem to fall beside the bed or pass through it. Beginners sometimes stop because they fear the physical body is actually moving. When they return, they discover it never changed position. This creates the impression that two systems of movement briefly existed at once. Sleep science explains the effect through motor imagery and disrupted body awareness. The brain can simulate motion with extraordinary realism, while muscles remain inactive. Projectors believe the rolling sensation belongs to a subtle body that responds before physical movement begins. The technique is popular because it does not require visualization of a distant place. It uses a familiar action and removes the muscular part. One simple turn can reveal whether the sense of movement belongs entirely to the body or to something capable of leaving it. The rope technique uses imagined climbing to trigger conscious separation. A person lies still and pictures a rope hanging directly above them. Without moving their hands, they imagine gripping it and pulling upward. Attention remains on the feeling of climbing rather than the appearance of the rope. If the method works, the physical body grows distant, while another sense of movement becomes stronger. Some practitioners feel pressure in the forehead or chest before suddenly rising free. The technique was designed to give the mind a clear action during the difficult transition between waking and sleep. Skeptics view it as focused motor imagery that encourages a vivid dream. Supporters believe imagined movement activates the non-physical body without disturbing the physical one. The rope itself is not considered real. It serves as a tool for directing intention. What makes the method intriguing is its simplicity. The traveler does not need special equipment or elaborate ritual. They climb something that exists only in thought and may arrive somewhere that feels completely independent from imagination. Spinning sensations can signal that the physical body is being left behind. The room may seem to rotate even though the person knows they are lying still. The movement can begin slowly and accelerate until orientation disappears completely. Some experiencers feel themselves turning inside the body. Others believe they are spinning above it. If they remain calm, the rotation may stop suddenly and reveal a new viewpoint. Balance systems in the inner ear can produce similar sensations when signals become confused during sleep. This offers a strong neurological explanation. Yet projectors often report that spinning can be used deliberately. They focus on the motion until physical awareness weakens, then direct themselves toward another location. In lucid dreaming, spinning is also used to stabilize or change a scene. The overlap suggests that rotation may help consciousness disconnect from its usual sensory map. The person loses the ordinary sense of up and down. When direction returns, awareness may no longer seem anchored to the same place. Confusion becomes a form of release. Some travelers struggle to move until they focus on a destination. Separation may occur successfully, while movement remains strangely limited. A traveler can see the room and feel free of the body, yet every attempt to cross the space fails. They may drift without control or remain fixed near the bed. Experienced practitioners say the problem comes from trying to use physical effort. Muscles are no longer directing movement, so pushing harder accomplishes nothing. The breakthrough often happens when the traveler stops thinking about motion and thinks only about arrival. A doorway, a familiar person, or an outdoor location becomes the target. The surroundings may then shift at once. Skeptics see this as dream logic, where intention changes the scene more effectively than realistic action. Astral travelers view it as a different law of movement. Consciousness goes where attention leads rather than where the body pushes. The struggle teaches a new rule. Freedom does not come from force. It comes from deciding clearly where awareness should be next. Vision may begin dark before becoming suddenly clear and detailed. Many travelers initially believe the experience has failed, because they cannot see anything. They feel movement and know they are no longer positioned normally, yet complete darkness surrounds them. Some attempt to open their physical eyes and immediately wake. Others wait or ask for clarity. The darkness can then lift within seconds, revealing a stable environment that seems brighter than the room should be. Practitioners sometimes call this astral blindness and treat it as a temporary problem with attention. They believe non-physical sight does not depend on eyelids, so the traveler must expect vision before it appears. A neurological explanation is equally possible. Visual imagery may develop gradually as the brain moves deeper into a dreamlike state. The sudden improvement feels dramatic because the person remains conscious throughout the transition. Sight arrives without light entering the eyes. That alone can feel revolutionary. The traveler discovers that seeing may continue even when the physical organs of vision are closed and inactive. Physical pain often disappears completely once separation seems to occur. A person who falls asleep with severe discomfort may suddenly feel free of it after leaving the body. The injury remains visible below, yet the projected viewpoint carries no pain. Chronic sufferers sometimes describe the experience as the only period when they feel entirely released from physical limitation. Neurology can explain part of this through altered attention and reduced sensory input. Pain is shaped by the brain and can change dramatically during sleep, hypnosis, or dissociation. Spiritual interpretations go further. They suggest pain belongs to the physical nervous system rather than consciousness itself. Once awareness moves beyond that system, the sensation has nothing to travel through. The relief can be so complete that returning becomes emotionally difficult. Some experiencers say the pain reappears the instant they reconnect with the body. That contrast leaves a lasting impression. Even if the journey is internally generated, it reveals how separable pain can feel from identity. The person remains themselves while the suffering temporarily stays behind. Strong emotions can make the projected environment change instantly. A peaceful setting may transform the moment fear enters the traveler's mind. Light can fade and familiar surroundings may become distorted. Excitement can produce rapid movement that becomes difficult to control. A feeling of trust may restore stability just as quickly. This responsiveness suggests that emotion acts directly on perception during the experience. Dream science would expect such changes because emotion helped shape dream content. Projectors sometimes believe the environment is real but flexible, with thought and feeling influencing how it appears. Under that model, consciousness does not passively observe. It participates in the world it enters. Emotional discipline therefore becomes essential. A traveler who cannot control fear may repeatedly encounter frightening scenes that reinforce the fear itself. Someone who remains calm can move through the same conditions without difficulty. The mystery lies in how immediate the effect appears. There is no delay between inner state and outer change. The environment seems to read the traveler before the traveler fully understands what they are feeling. Thinking about the body may cause an immediate and forceful return. A journey can end the moment the traveler remembers the physical form lying elsewhere. There may be no warning and no sense of crossing the distance back. Awareness snaps into place as though pulled by an elastic connection. This is why experienced projectors often avoid wondering whether the body is safe. The thought itself seems to act as a command. Skeptics view the effect as attention returning to physical sensation. Once the sleeping person notices breathing, weight, or contact with the bed, the altered state collapses. Astral practitioners believe the body has a powerful magnetic influence on consciousness. Remembering it activates that bond and ends the separation. Both explanations agree that attention controls location. The traveler remains wherever awareness is focused most strongly. This creates a strange paradox. The body is easiest to leave when it is forgotten, yet concern for it can become impossible to avoid. One ordinary thought can close an extraordinary world before the journey feels complete. Some returns include a jolt, but feels like sudden impact. The person may wake with the sensation of dropping into the body from a great height. The bed seems to shake, even though nothing has moved. Muscles can contract at once, and the heart may race from the shock. This resembles the common falling jolt that occurs as people enter sleep, but it happens at the end of a vivid journey. Projectors sometimes believe awareness returned too quickly and collided with the physical form. They describe poor alignment or an abrupt re-entry caused by fear, noise, or touch. Sleep researchers would point to a sudden motor response as the brain shifts states. The sense of impact may be the mind's interpretation of that muscular event. No physical damage is reported, though the experience can feel violent for a second. The jolt reinforces the impression that something has traveled back. Awakening does not feel gradual. It feels like arrival. Whatever moved may be impossible to measure, but the landing seems unmistakably real. Missing time can follow journeys that seem to last only minutes. A traveler may return expecting the clock to have barely moved, then discover that several hours have passed. The remembered experience contains only a short sequence, which leaves a large part of the night unaccounted for. Ordinary sleep offers an obvious answer. The person may have projected briefly, lost awareness, and continued sleeping without memory. Some experiencers suspect something else occurred during the gap. They believe the journey continued, but most of it could not be brought back into waking consciousness. Contact stories sometimes interpret missing time as evidence that an encounter took place beyond ordinary recall. Skeptics warn that this idea can turn a normal memory gap into an elaborate mystery. Yet the sensation remains strange for the person involved. They did not feel unconscious. Awareness seemed continuous until the moment of return. The clock tells a different story. Either memory failed to record the missing period, or subjective time moved so differently that hours of physical life passed almost unnoticed. A brief projection may contain memories of an apparently lengthy adventure. The opposite time distortion can also occur. Someone may leave the body for what the clock records as a few minutes, yet return with memories that seem to cover many hours. The journey can include travel, conversations, and extended periods of waiting. Each event appears to follow the previous one naturally. Dreams can create the same illusion because remembered duration does not need to match real duration. The brain may construct a long narrative at extraordinary speed or create only the memory of elapsed time. More speculative interpretations suggest consciousness enters a level where physical clocks have little meaning. An entire sequence could unfold between two ordinary moments. The traveler may therefore experience genuine duration that cannot be measured from the body's location. This possibility would make time dependent on the state of consciousness observing it. A few physical minutes might contain an inner world spacious enough for a complete adventure, leaving the person with memories that feel far too large for the time available. Repeated experiences can reduce fear of death for some people. Someone who has felt separate from the body may no longer view physical death as the certain end of awareness. The change often comes without adopting a formal religion. The experience itself becomes the evidence they trust. They remember thinking clearly, while the body appeared distant and inactive. If identity could continue then, perhaps it can continue when the body finally stops. Skeptics note that a convincing brain event can alter beliefs without proving survival after death. The reduction in fear remains psychologically real, even if the interpretation is mistaken. Experiencers often say the shift feels deeper than an opinion. Death loses its image as total disappearance and becomes a transition they have partly rehearsed. This can bring calm, though it may also create frustration when others dismiss the event. The person cannot transfer certainty through explanation. They can only describe what happened. For them, the mystery is no longer whether consciousness can feel separate from the body. It is how far that separation can ultimately go. Certain experiences return with lasting changes in values and personality. An episode lasting only minutes can influence the rest of a person's life. Some become more patient and less concerned with status. Others feel a stronger responsibility toward people around them. The change may follow a sense of expanded awareness or an encounter that challenged everything they believed. Psychology recognizes that intense experiences can reorganize priorities, especially when they involve danger or profound emotion. The meaning assigned afterward may be more important than the event's objective cause. Yet experiencers often insist the transformation began during the journey itself. They felt connected to a larger reality and could no longer treat everyday life as meaningless. Family members sometimes notice the difference before hearing the full story. Not every change is easy. A person may struggle to return to old routines or feel isolated by beliefs others do not share. The lasting effect becomes part of the evidence for those involved. A dream is usually forgotten. This experience can rebuild the person who returns. Some people lose interest in material success after leaving their bodies. Money, possessions, and professional competition may suddenly feel less important after awareness seems to exist without any physical object. The traveler remembers being entirely themselves while owning nothing and carrying nothing. That realization can weaken the belief that identity depends on what has been accumulated. Some people simplify their lives or change careers after the experience. Critics may interpret this as a common reaction to confronting mortality or escaping routine through a powerful dream. Spiritual travelers often see it as direct insight. Physical life becomes temporary, while consciousness appears capable of continuing beyond every possession. This does not always lead to rejecting comfort or responsibility. The change is often about proportion. Material goals remain useful, but stop defining the person's worth. The experience can therefore challenge one of society's strongest assumptions. If awareness can leave the body without losing identity, then wealth may belong only to the temporary role being played here. Whatever continues would take none of it along. Creative ideas have reportedly arrived during journeys beyond ordinary awareness. A traveler may return with a solution to a problem that felt impossible before sleep. The idea can appear as a complete design or a sudden understanding of how separate pieces fit together. Some believe projection allows the mind to access information beyond personal memory. Others see a natural benefit of altered consciousness. When ordinary attention relaxes, hidden associations can rise without interference. The unusual viewpoint may also allow a person to approach a problem without the habits that kept it stuck. What makes these reports intriguing is the feeling that the solution was discovered rather than invented. The traveler may encounter an object, receive an explanation, or simply know the answer at once. Much of the detail can fade after waking, so experienced explorers often keep notes nearby. A single remembered insight may justify the entire journey. Whether the source is a deeper layer of the brain or an external field of knowledge, creativity seems capable of appearing where normal thought temporarily ends. Inventors and artists have described viewing problems from outside themselves. Creative people sometimes report a detached state in which they seem to observe their work from a completely new position. An inventor may visualize a mechanism operating in 3 dimensions. An artist can see the finished composition before making the first mark. This does not always involve a full view of the sleeping body, but the sense of separation can feel similar. the ordinary self steps aside and the problem becomes visible as a whole. Psychological explanations connect this with incubation, where the unconscious mind continues working after deliberate effort stops. Out-of-body interpretations suggest awareness can examine ideas from a level where physical limits no longer interfere. The phrase, "seeing from another perspective," becomes literal. A design can be entered, rotated, or inspected from within. The creator returns with an impression that feels discovered in another space. Even when no paranormal claim is made, the experience reveals that thought can become spatial and immersive enough to resemble travel. Some musicians claim melodies appeared during states resembling conscious projection. The music may arrive complete and seem to come from somewhere outside the person. A composer hears a phrase with harmony already attached, then wakes and tries to reproduce it before it fades. In stronger experiences, the musician feels surrounded by sound, while the body remains distant or asleep. The melody can have a structure unlike their usual style, which creates the impression of receiving rather than composing it. Neuroscience can explain this through memory, pattern recognition, and creative processing during sleep. The brain may combine familiar elements into something that feels new. Spiritual interpretations suggest music exists as a form that consciousness can discover beyond the physical world. The musician becomes a translator who brings back only part of what was heard. Many report that the original sounded richer than any instrument can reproduce. This gap between experience and performance adds to the mystery. The song seems to belong somewhere else, while the waking artist can capture only its outline. Shared death experiences may pull healthy witnesses partly outside their bodies. A person sitting beside someone who is dying may suddenly feel awareness expand beyond the room. They remain physically healthy, yet they experience part of the transition as though they are accompanying the other person. Some report rising above the scene or entering a place filled with clarity before being sent back. The event differs from grief-related visions that occur later because it appears at the moment of death. Psychology may explain it through emotional shock, exhaustion, and intense identification with the dying person. Supporters believe consciousness can briefly connect during the final separation. The departing individual may draw a loved one part of the way through an unseen boundary. These experiences are difficult to discuss because they combine loss with something that feels extraordinary and comforting. The witness returns, while the other person does not. That difference creates a powerful impression that they approached the same passage, but were allowed to see only its beginning. Caregivers sometimes report briefly accompanying a dying person beyond the room. A nurse, relative, or hospice worker may feel the surroundings disappear as someone takes their final breaths. For a moment, the caregiver seems to move with them toward another environment. The experience can include a sense of distance from the body without any loss of awareness. Unlike personal near-death experiences, the witness is not medically endangered. This makes the event harder to explain through a failing brain. Emotional strain and sleep deprivation remain strong possibilities, especially during long periods of bedside care. Yet some caregivers report the event before realizing that death has occurred. They describe a sudden release, then look back and discover the person has stopped breathing. Spiritual interpretations suggest the dying consciousness briefly includes someone trusted in the departure. The caregiver becomes a companion for the first stage, then returns to ordinary perception. These accounts imply that separation may not always be private. Under rare conditions, the boundary around one person's awareness may open wide enough for another to enter. The dying may describe leaving before their physical signs fully cease. A person near death can sometimes speak of standing elsewhere or seeing the room from above while still able to communicate. They may say that the body feels distant or no longer belongs to them. These statements can occur before the final heartbeat, which suggests the process of separation may begin gradually. Medical changes in oxygen, medication, and brain activity can create altered perception during this period. Yet the timing is remarkable because the person may describe departure while the body remains alive. Some traditions teach that death unfolds in stages, rather than happening at one exact instant. Consciousness may loosen its connection before biological functions completely stop. Caregivers sometimes notice that the person seems to shift attention toward something no one else can see. The experience may be confused, symbolic, or genuine. Whatever its cause, it challenges the idea that awareness ends only after the body reaches a clear medical boundary. The departure may begin while life is still visibly present. Some experiencers believe every person projects unconsciously during normal sleep. Under this theory, out-of-body travel is not a rare gift. It is a nightly activity that most people simply fail to remember. Sleep would allow consciousness to loosen its focus on the physical senses and move through other levels of experience. Dreams might contain fragments of these journeys after the waking mind translates them into familiar scenes. This could explain why some dreams feel unusually real or involve places that return across many years. Skeptics argue that there is no need to add non-physical travel when dreaming already accounts for complex nighttime experiences. Believers answer that ordinary dream explanations do not capture the stability and clarity of certain episodes. They suggest memory is deliberately reduced so waking life can continue without confusion. Projection practices may work by carrying awareness across a transition that normally happens unconsciously. If this idea is correct, the mystery is not how people leave their bodies. It is why nearly everyone wakes without remembering where consciousness may have gone. Recurring dreams of flight may be forgotten memories of nightly journeys. Many people dream of rising above streets or moving effortlessly through the air. The sensation can feel natural, as though a skill has returned after being temporarily forgotten. Astral practitioners believe some of these dreams begin as genuine separations that later lose clarity. The waking mind remembers only the movement and turns the rest into a dream narrative. Psychology offers a different explanation. Flight can represent freedom, confidence, or the brain's creative use of balance sensations during sleep. Yet recurring flight dreams often contain consistent techniques. The dreamer may know how to steer, gain height, or avoid falling without remembering where the knowledge came from. This learned quality intrigues people who believe projection happens unconsciously. Perhaps the person has practiced across many nights while retaining only fragments. The next time flight begins, the skill is already present. What seems like imagination may be memory in disguise. The dream could preserve the most recognizable sensation of a journey that waking consciousness is not prepared to recall. Certain houses are repeatedly associated with spontaneous out-of-body episodes. A person who has never experienced separation may begin having episodes after moving into a particular building. Visitors can report similar sensations in the same room without knowing the history. The location may be unusually quiet or linked with disrupted sleep, which offers ordinary explanations. Old houses can produce vibrations, low sounds, and changes in temperature that affect perception. More speculative theories suggest certain places make the boundary between physical and non-physical awareness easier to cross. The building may sit near unusual geological conditions or carry emotional impressions from former occupants. Some experiencers believe a presence within the house encourages the departure. Others feel the location simply amplifies their own ability. The episodes often stop after moving away, which strengthens the sense that place matters. Whether the cause is environmental or unseen, the pattern is intriguing. Consciousness may not separate with equal ease everywhere. Certain rooms appear to act like doorways, even when no one understands what makes them different. Geomagnetic activity may influence when unusual consciousness experiences occur. Some researchers have explored whether changes in Earth's magnetic environment coincide with altered states. The human brain uses electrical activity, so it is reasonable to ask whether external fields could have subtle effects. Reports of vivid dreams, unusual perceptions, and spontaneous separation have sometimes been compared with periods of geomagnetic disturbance. The results remain inconsistent and do not prove a direct connection. Many other factors influence sleep and memory, yet the possibility appeals to those who notice clusters of experiences on particular nights. Solar activity may alter conditions around Earth in ways that the body senses without conscious awareness. More speculative ideas suggest magnetic changes weaken the normal attachment between consciousness and the nervous system. Under that model, projection could become easier when the planet itself enters a disturbed state. The theory remains uncertain, but it expands the mystery beyond the individual. An out-of-body experience may depend not only on the person, but also on invisible conditions surrounding the entire world. The greatest mystery is whether consciousness was ever inside the body. Every out-of-body experience assumes that awareness begins within the physical form and then moves somewhere else. That assumption may be wrong. Some philosophers and spiritual traditions suggest the brain does not contain consciousness. It may filter or localize something that already exists beyond physical boundaries. The feeling of being behind the eyes could therefore be a useful point of focus rather than a literal address. Under this view, projection is not an escape from the body. It is a temporary release from the belief that awareness was confined there. Neuroscience shows that brain activity and experience are closely connected, but connection does not fully explain origin. A damaged receiver alters a signal without proving that the receiver created it. Critics consider this comparison misleading because no external field of consciousness has been demonstrated. Still, the question remains unresolved. Perhaps awareness travels. Perhaps it only changes focus. Or perhaps the body exists within consciousness, rather than consciousness existing inside the body. Here's the outro. Tonight, we have explored the extraordinary possibility that consciousness may not be as firmly attached to the body as it appears. We have followed accounts of people who seem to rise above themselves and travel far beyond familiar rooms. We have considered hidden targets and distant observations. We have also entered stranger territory, where travelers described unknown beings, other worlds, and places that may exist outside ordinary time. Perhaps these experiences begin inside the sleeping brain. Perhaps they reveal abilities that science has not yet learned to measure. Or perhaps consciousness is far larger than the physical form that carries us through each day. For now, there is no final answer. There are only reports that continue to challenge what we think we know about awareness and reality. Each one leaves behind the same fascinating possibility. The person looking through your eyes may be capable of going much farther than your body ever could. But now, you can let those questions begin to drift away. Feel the weight of the bed beneath you. Let your breathing become slower and easier. Allow the muscles around your eyes to relax, and let your thoughts move without needing to follow them. There is nothing left to solve tonight. The mysteries can remain where they are until another evening. If you enjoyed this journey, you are welcome to like the video, subscribe to the channel, or leave a thought below. It helps more curious listeners find their way here. And if you happen to still be awake, another sleepy mystery will be waiting for you on the screen. You can follow it whenever you are ready. For now, let your attention grow softer. Let the room become still around you, and allow sleep to arrive in its own time. Sleep well, and good night.